If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the podcast. Chapter 1, Foundations of Cosmic Order and Human Agency. Part 1, The Origins of Dharma and Karma, setting the stage for moral order. As it is said in the ancient teachings, the universe flows according to eternal laws that maintain order in all creation. These laws guide both the great movements of the stars and the small actions of living beings. Dharma is the sacred law that holds the world together. It is the right way of living that keeps harmony between all creatures. Just as the sun rises each day and the seasons follow their course, Dharma sets the proper path for every being according to their nature and place in life. The scriptures teach that Dharma has 4 great pillars. The first is truth, which means speaking and acting with honesty. The second is mercy, which calls us to show kindness to all living things. The third is cleanliness of body and mind. The fourth is control over our desires and anger. For each person, Dharma takes different forms. The student must learn with devotion. The householder must provide for family and serve society. The ruler must protect the people with justice. The holy person must seek wisdom and guide others. When all follow their proper dharma, the world remains in balance. Karma is the law that connects every action with its result. Like a farmer who plants seeds and later harvests crops, every deed we perform creates consequences that return to us. Good actions bring happiness and peace. Bad actions bring suffering and trouble. The ancient sages taught that karma works across many lifetimes. The soul carries the fruits of its actions from one birth to the next. A person who lives with righteousness and kindness will be born into favorable conditions. One who causes harm and acts selfishly will face difficulties and obstacles. This law of karma operates with perfect fairness. No one can escape the results of their choices. Even the gods must follow this eternal principle. The universe itself maintains this justice, ensuring that every soul receives exactly what their actions have earned. Yet karma is not a prison that traps us forever. Through understanding and right action, we can create better karma for ourselves. By performing our dharma with dedication and without attachment to results, we purify our hearts and minds. This leads us gradually toward freedom from the endless cycle of birth and death. The sacred texts declare that dharma and karma work together as the foundation of moral order. They create the framework within which all souls must live and grow. Like a great wheel that turns through time, these laws ensure that justice prevails in the end, even when we cannot see it clearly in the present moment. Part 2, The Self and Its Illusions. Understanding Atma, Jiva, and Maya. Within the great dharma and karma that guide all existence, there lies a deeper truth about who we truly are and what controls our choices. The sacred texts teach us about 3 important parts of reality that shape our understanding of free will. First is Atma, the true self. This is the eternal soul that lives within each being. The Atma is pure consciousness, unchanging and divine. It is the real you that exists beyond birth and death. The scriptures say that the Atma is the same in all creatures. It is a part of the supreme divine reality that fills the universe. This true self is never born and never dies. It moves from one body to another, like a person changing clothes. Second is Jiva, the individual soul. This is how we experience ourselves in daily life. The Jiva feels separate from others. It thinks, I am this person, and this is my body and my mind. The Jiva carries the impressions of past actions from life to life. These impressions create desires, fears, and habits that shape our choices. What we call our personality and character comes from the Jiva level of existence. Third is Maya, the great illusion. Maya is the power that makes the one appear as many. It creates the appearance of separation where there is really unity. Maya makes us forget our true nature as Atma and instead identify with the limited Jiva. Under this illusion, we believe we are separate individuals making independent choices. The holy texts explain that Maya works through three qualities called gunas. These are sattva, purity and light, rajas, passion and activity, and tamas, darkness and inertia. All thoughts, feelings, and actions arise from the mixture of these three qualities in different proportions. What we think are our personal choices are actually the result of these qualities acting according to their nature. When someone acts with anger, it is rajas and tamas operating. When someone shows compassion, it is sattva expressing itself. The individual feels like the doer, but the actions flow from the interplay of these cosmic forces through their particular combination in that person. The scriptures teach that true freedom comes only when we see through Maya and recognize our real nature as Atma. Until then, what appears as free choice is actually the mechanical working of past karma, present desires, and the three qualities of nature. The Jiva thinks it chooses, but it responds according to its conditioned patterns, like a puppet moved by invisible strings. This understanding shows why spiritual practice is essential. Through knowledge, devotion, and right action, we can gradually see beyond the illusion. We begin to act from wisdom, rather than from the unconscious push of desires and habits. In this way, the path leads from apparent choice within illusion toward genuine freedom in truth. Part 3. The Great Cosmic Dance, Ishvara, Prakriti, and Divine Will. At the heart of all existence stands Ishvara, the supreme controller who governs the vast cosmic order. Ishvara is the divine will that guides all things, yet this divine presence works through nature itself. This is the great mystery of creation, how the supreme divine will operates through the material world. Prakriti is the primal nature from which all things emerge. She is the mother of matter, energy, time, and space. Everything we see and experience comes from Prakriti. Our bodies, our minds, the earth, the stars, and all living beings. Yet Prakriti cannot act alone. She needs the presence of Ishvara to begin the cosmic dance. When Ishvara looks upon Prakriti, the universe begins to stir. This divine glance awakens the sleeping powers within primal nature. The three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, begin their eternal dance. Sattva brings balance and light. Rajas brings activity and passion. Tamas brings inertia and darkness. These three forces mix and combine in countless ways to create all forms of life. This cosmic dance never stops. Ishvara remains the witness and controller, while Prakriti performs the actual work of creation, preservation, and destruction. The divine will guides the process, but allows nature to follow her own patterns. This creates space for individual beings to act within the larger cosmic order. Every soul exists within this great dance. We are part of Prakriti, yet we carry within us a spark of the divine consciousness. This creates our experience of choice and action. We can make decisions and take actions, but these happen within the boundaries set by divine will and natural law. The divine will is not harsh or limiting. It creates the conditions where souls can grow, learn, and eventually return to their true nature. Ishvara provides the framework of Dharma and karma so that every action has its proper result. This ensures justice and gives meaning to all our choices. Individual agency exists, but it works within divine purpose. A wave in the ocean can move freely, but it remains part of the greater water. Similarly, we can choose our actions, but we remain part of the cosmic order guided by Ishvara through Prakriti. This understanding shows that neither pure free will nor complete predetermination describes reality accurately. Instead, we participate in the cosmic dance, where divine will creates the stage, natural forces provide the music, and individual souls perform their parts. Each soul contributes to the greater harmony, while following its own path towards spiritual awakening. The interplay of Ishvara and Prakriti ensures that the universe serves both cosmic purpose and individual growth. This divine arrangement allows for genuine choice within a meaningful order, making every action significant in the grand design of existence. Part 4. Early Philosophical Insights, the Seeds of Free Will and Destiny. From the ancient Vedic hymns came the first questions about human choice and divine plan. The Rig Veda speaks of Indra, the mighty god, who acts with great power, yet humans too must act to receive his blessings. The seers asked whether mortals create their own paths or follow routes already made by the gods. In the sacred fire ceremonies, priests offered prayers and performed rituals with precise care. They believed their actions could influence the gods and bring good fortune. Yet they also knew that divine will shaped all things. This created the first tension between what humans can do and what fate has already decided. The Atharva Veda shows this struggle clearly. It contains spells and prayers for health, wealth, and protection from enemies. People used these practices because they believed human effort could change outcomes. But the same texts speak of time as an all-powerful force that controls everything. Time creates and destroys without regard for human wishes. The early Upanishads brought deeper questions about choice and destiny. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad tells of Yajnavalkya, the great sage, who taught that each person becomes what they desire. Their thoughts, actions, and wishes shape their future lives. This suggests humans have real power to determine their fate. But the same text also speaks of the self that never changes. This eternal self exists beyond all actions and choices. It neither acts nor experiences the results of action. This teaching suggests that true identity lies beyond the realm where free will and destiny operate. The Chandogya Upanishad presents another view. It teaches that individual souls are like sparks from a great fire. They seem separate, but share the same essence as the source. Each spark follows its own path, yet all return to the same origin. This creates space for individual choice within a larger pattern of return to divine unity. The Katha Upanishad uses the image of a chariot to explain human agency. The body is like a chariot, the senses are the horses, and the mind is the reins. The soul is the passenger, and intelligence is the charioteer. When intelligence guides well, the journey leads to the highest goal. When it fails, the person faces difficulties and repeated births. This teaching shows that humans have genuine responsibility for their spiritual journey. The quality of their choices determines their progress toward liberation. Yet the very capacity for choice depends on divine intelligence working through human consciousness. The great epic Mahabharata began exploring these themes through stories of heroes and their struggles. Bhishma, the noble grandfather, faced impossible duties that bound him to harmful actions. Arjuna questioned whether fighting the war served justice or merely fulfilled his warrior nature. These early texts planted seeds that would grow into detailed philosophical systems. They recognized both human agency and cosmic order as real forces in spiritual life. Chapter 2. Karma and the Duality of Choice and Fate. Part 1. The Law of Karma, Cause, Effect, and the Endless Cycle of Samsara. As spoken by Krishna to Arjuna on the field of battle, the truth of karma stands as the great law that rules all existence. Every action, every thought, every word creates a result that must come to pass. This is karma, the law of cause and effect that binds all living beings to the wheel of life and death. Whatever you do, good or bad, plants a seed that will grow into fruit. If you act with kindness and truth, happiness will follow. If you act with anger and lies, suffering will come. This is not punishment or reward from above, but simply how the world works. The fire burns whoever touches it. The cool water soothes whoever drinks it. Because of this law, every soul travels through countless births. You die in one body and are born in another. You live as a human, then perhaps as an animal, then perhaps as a god. This endless journey from birth to death to birth again is called Samsara. It is the great wheel that turns without stopping. Your past actions decide where you are born, what family receives you, what body you inhabit, what joys and sorrows come to you. The rich man earned his wealth through good deeds in past lives. The poor man suffers from bad deeds done before. The wise person gained knowledge through seeking truth in many lifetimes. The foolish person chose ignorance again and again. Yet this does not make you helpless. Each moment brings new choices. Right now, as you breathe and think and speak, you create karma that will shape your future. The beggar can become a king through right action. The king can become a beggar through wrong choices. The soul carries the weight of all its actions like a traveler carries baggage. Some of this baggage is heavy and determines much of what happens to you, but your hands remain free to pick up new things or put down old burdens. You cannot change what you did yesterday, but you can choose what to do today. This creates the great dance between fate and freedom. Your circumstances come from past karma. This is your fate. But how you respond to these circumstances depends on your present choices. This is your freedom. The wise person accepts what cannot be changed and acts wisely on what can be changed. The ignorant person believes everything is fixed and gives up all effort. The foolish person believes everything depends on their will alone and ignores the effects of past actions. The wise person sees both truths working together and acts with knowledge of this great law. Part 2. Sanchita, Prarabdha, and Kriyamana, layers of predetermination and free action. Know that your karma exists in 3 forms, each working together like streams that flow into one great river. These 3 types of karma determine how much of your life is fixed and how much remains in your hands to shape. First is Sanchita karma. This is the vast storehouse of all actions you have performed in countless past lives. Like seeds stored in a granary, these actions wait to give their results. This storehouse is so large that no person can exhaust it in one lifetime. Most of these karmic seeds remain dormant, waiting for the right conditions to sprout and bear fruit. From this great storehouse, certain karmas ripen and become active. This is called Prarabdha karma, the portion of your past actions that has begun to give results in this present life. This karma determines the major circumstances of your birth, your family, your body, your basic nature, the span of your life, and the main experiences you must face. Prarabdha karma is like an arrow that has already left the bow. Once shot, it cannot be called back or stopped. It must reach its target and fulfill its purpose. The wise accept these predetermined circumstances without complaint or resistance, knowing they come from their own past choices. Yet even as Prarabdha karma shapes your circumstances, you remain free to choose how you respond. This freedom creates the 3rd type, Kriyamana karma, which means the actions you perform right now in the present moment. Every choice you make, every word you speak, every deed you do creates new karma that will determine your future. Here lies the great balance between fate and freedom. Your current situation comes from Prarabdha karma. This you cannot change. But your response to this situation creates Kriyamana karma. This remains completely in your control. A person born poor cannot instantly become rich, for this poverty comes from past karma. But how they respond to poverty, with bitterness or acceptance, with laziness or hard work, with dishonesty or righteousness, this choice shapes their future karma. The wise person understands this teaching well. They know that some things in life are fixed by past actions and must be endured with patience. But they also know that their present choices are creating their future destiny. They neither blame fate for everything, nor believe they control everything. Instead, They focus their energy on what they can influence, their thoughts, words, and actions in this present moment. This present karma has great power. Right actions performed now can neutralize some effects of bad past karma. Good choices made today create positive future results. Though you cannot escape Prarabdha karma entirely, you can work toward exhausting your negative karmic debts and building positive karmic wealth. Thus, karma shows both the limits of human will and its great potential. You are bound by past choices, yet free to make new ones. This is the wisdom that guides the soul toward eventual liberation from all karmic bondage. Part 3. Vasanas and Conditioning. How past impressions shape present choices. Vasanas and Conditioning. How past impressions shape present choices. The sacred texts teach us about vasanas, the deep impressions left in the mind from all actions performed in past lives and this present life. These impressions are like seeds planted in the soil of consciousness. They grow into tendencies that shape how we think, feel, and act. When you perform any action, good or bad, it leaves a mark on your inner being. These marks accumulate over countless lifetimes. They become powerful forces that influence your desires, preferences, and natural inclinations. A person who practiced violence in past lives carries violent tendencies. One who showed kindness carries compassionate tendencies. These vasanas work beneath the surface of awareness. They create automatic patterns of response. When faced with choices, the mind naturally moves toward actions that match these deep impressions. The angry person feels pulled toward anger. The generous soul feels drawn to giving. This happens without conscious thought. Yet vasanas do not completely control human choice. They influence, but do not command. A person with violent tendencies still possesses the power to choose peace. One with selfish impressions can still decide to serve others. The choice requires effort and awareness, but it remains possible. The wise understand this conditioning and work to transform negative vasanas through right action and spiritual practice. When you repeatedly choose good actions despite contrary tendencies, you weaken bad impressions and strengthen good ones. Each positive choice makes the next one easier. Meditation and self-inquiry help reveal these hidden patterns. Through honest examination, you can see which desires arise from deep conditioning rather than present circumstances. This awareness creates space for conscious choice rather than automatic reaction. The scriptures explain that some people seem naturally drawn to righteousness, while others struggle with destructive impulses. This difference comes from the varying strength of their vasanas. Those with strong positive impressions find dharmic action natural. Others must work harder to overcome negative conditioning. Liberation comes through gradually purifying these deep impressions. As you exhaust negative vasanas through right action and spiritual practice, the mind becomes clearer and freer. Eventually, all conditioning dissolves, leaving pure consciousness unbound by any compulsive tendencies. This teaching shows the subtle interplay between past conditioning and present freedom. You inherit tendencies from countless previous actions, yet retain the sacred power to choose your response in each moment. Through understanding vasanas, the seeker learns to work skillfully with conditioning, while moving steadily toward complete freedom. Part 4. The Moral Weight of Choice. Dharma as the guiding principle of action. HTML. Your conditioning shapes your mind, yet Dharma stands as the eternal principle that guides all righteous action. Dharma is the sacred law that governs the universe and shows the path of moral conduct for every being. It exists beyond your personal karma and provides the eternal standard by which you must measure all choices. When you face any decision, Dharma calls you to act according to righteousness rather than mere personal desire or past conditioning. Your vasanas may pull you towards certain actions, but Dharma offers the higher calling that can override these tendencies. This is where your true freedom lies, in the capacity to choose dharmic action over the impulses created by past impressions. Every human being carries the responsibility to discern right from wrong through the light of Dharma. This moral discernment is not dependent on your past karma or current circumstances. Whether you were born into favorable or difficult conditions, the call of Dharma remains the same. You must choose actions that align with cosmic order and universal righteousness. The sacred texts teach that Dharma varies according to your station in life, your capabilities, and your circumstances. A ruler's Dharma differs from a teacher's Dharma, just as a householder's duties differ from those of a renunciant. Yet all Dharma serves the same purpose: maintaining cosmic harmony and guiding souls toward liberation. When you act according to Dharma, you align yourself with the divine order of creation. Such actions purify your consciousness and gradually free you from the bondage of past conditioning, even if your Vasanas incline you toward selfish or harmful actions. Dharma provides the strength to choose differently. The weight of moral choice cannot be transferred to fate or past karma. In each moment, you stand at the crossroads between dharmic and adharmic action. Your past may influence your inclinations, but it cannot force your hand. The sacred responsibility of choice remains eternally yours. Through following Dharma, you develop the inner strength to transcend limiting patterns and conditioning. This is how free will operates within the cosmic order, not as random choice, but as the capacity to align with righteousness despite all opposing forces. Dharma thus becomes both your guide and your liberation, showing how true freedom emerges through willing surrender to divine law. Part 5. The Bhagavad Gita's dialogue, Krishna's teachings on duty and choice. When Prince Arjuna stood on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he faced the greatest test of his life. Before him stood his own family members, teachers, and friends ready for war. His hands shook as he held his bow, his heart filled with doubt and sorrow. Arjuna spoke to his charioteer Krishna, "I cannot fight against my own people. What good will come from killing my relatives? I would rather live as a beggar than win a kingdom through their blood. My bow falls from my hands. I will not fight." Krishna looked at Arjuna with compassion and spoke these words of wisdom. "You grieve for those who should not be grieved for. The wise do not mourn for the living or the dead. The soul that lives in this body is eternal. Just as a person puts on new clothes and throws away old ones, the soul takes new bodies and leaves old ones behind. You were born as a warrior, Arjuna. Fighting righteous battles is your dharma, your sacred duty. To turn away from this duty is to turn away from righteousness itself. If you do not fight this righteous war, you will abandon your dharma and gain only sin." Krishna continued, "But listen carefully to this secret. You have the right to perform your actions, but never to the fruits of those actions. Do not let the results of your work be your motive. Yet do not be attached to not working at all. Perform all your duties while keeping your mind fixed on the divine. Give up attachment to success and failure alike. This balance of mind is called yoga. When you work without caring for personal gain, you become free from the bonds of action." Arjuna asked, "If you say wisdom is greater than action, why do you push me toward this terrible battle?" Krishna replied, "In this world, there are two paths. The path of knowledge for those who contemplate, and the path of work for those who act. But no one can gain freedom from action by avoiding work. Even maintaining your body requires action. Therefore, always perform necessary actions without attachment. The person who works without selfish desire reaches the supreme goal. Through selfless action, great souls like King Janaka reached perfection. Whatever action a great person performs, common people follow. Whatever standards such leaders set, the world pursues. I have no duties to perform in all the three worlds, nothing to gain that I do not already have. Yet I continue to work. If I did not engage in action, these worlds would perish, and I would be the cause of confusion and destruction of all people. As ignorant people act with attachment to their work, wise people should act without attachment, guiding others toward right action." Krishna's voice grew gentle. "Surrender all your actions to me. With your mind focused on the eternal self, free from hope and selfishness. Fight without distress. Those who constantly follow this teaching of mine with faith and without complaint are freed from the bonds of action. The person who sees inaction, and action in inaction is wise among people. Such a person is united in consciousness and has accomplished everything worth accomplishing. One whose every action flows from desire for the divine, whose sins are burned away by the fire of knowledge, is called wise by the learned. Through these teachings, Krishna showed Arjuna that true freedom comes not from avoiding duty, but from performing duty without attachment to results. Choice exists in how you approach your work, whether with selfish desire or with surrender to the divine. This is how you can be both dutiful and free, both active and peaceful, both human and divine. Chapter 3: Philosophical Traditions and Debates on Free Will. Part 1. Advaita Vedanta, the illusion of free will in non-dualism. The wise teacher spoke to his student about the nature of reality and choice. Listen to these sacred words that show the truth about what we call free will. All that you see, all that you think exists as separate things is like a dream. There is only one reality, and that is Brahman, the eternal truth that has no beginning and no end. What you think of as yourself, your mind, your body, your ability to choose, all of this is Maya, the great illusion that covers your eyes like a veil. From the highest view of truth, there is no one who chooses and nothing to be chosen. The one who thinks he acts, the action itself, and the result of that action are all one single reality appearing as many. This is like waves on the ocean thinking they are separate from the water, or like dreams in sleep where the dreamer. The dream and all the people in the dream are really just one sleeping mind. Your sense of being a separate person who can decide and act comes from avidya, which means not knowing the truth. This ignorance makes you think you are the body and mind, when really you are the same eternal consciousness that exists in all beings. When this false knowledge rules your understanding, you believe your thoughts are your own, and your choices matter as individual acts. But the sacred texts teach us that even this ignorance serves the divine plan. From where you stand now, as someone who feels separate, you must still act and choose. The scriptures do not tell you to stop making decisions or to become lazy in your duties. Instead, they show you that while you appear to choose, the real power behind all action is the one divine consciousness. Think of it like this. In a dream, you feel you are walking and talking and making choices. The dream person believes his actions are real and important. But when you wake up, you see that the dreamer, all the dream people, and every dream choice were really just movements of one sleeping mind. In the same way, what you call your free will is the divine consciousness playing the role of an individual who chooses. The choice feels real at your level of understanding, and you must honor this by acting with wisdom and righteousness. Yet the deeper truth remains that there is no separate chooser, only the one eternal being experiencing itself through countless forms. This teaching does not make your life meaningless. Instead, it frees you from the heavy burden of thinking you alone control your destiny. Every choice, every result, every moment of joy or sorrow is the divine expressing itself through the form you call yourself. The goal of this wisdom is to help you see beyond the illusion while still living responsibly within it. You act without attachment to results, knowing that the true actor is the divine consciousness itself. Part 2. Dvaita Vedanta and Dualism, Affirming Free Will Amid Divine Sovereignty. Dvaita Vedanta and Dualism, Affirming Free Will Amid Divine Sovereignty. The sacred Dvaita teaching speaks of a different truth. In this path, the Lord and the soul are forever separate. They are not one substance appearing as two. They are truly different beings bound in eternal relationship. Listen to this wisdom. The Supreme Lord Vishnu stands as the ultimate ruler of all existence. He controls the movements of planets, the flow of rivers, and the breath of every living being. Nothing happens without his knowledge and permission. He is the cause behind every cause, the power behind every force. Yet within this divine rule, each soul possesses its own nature and will. You are not a puppet dancing to invisible strings. Your choices spring from your own understanding and desire. When you decide to speak truth or tell lies, to help others or harm them, to worship the divine or ignore it completely, these choices come from your individual soul. The soul carries its own qualities. Some souls naturally tend toward righteousness and devotion. Others lean towards selfish actions and ignorance. But regardless of these natural tendencies, every soul can choose its path moment by moment. The Lord has granted this power of choice to each being. Your actions create results that you must face. If you plant seeds of kindness, you will harvest joy and peace. If you sow cruelty and greed, suffering will follow. The Lord watches over this cosmic justice, but He does not force your hand. He allows you to experience the fruits of your own choices. The divine grace flows constantly, but souls can accept or reject it. Like rain falling equally on fertile soil and hard rock, divine blessings are always available. The fertile soul receives and grows. The hardened soul lets the grace run off unused. This choice belongs to each individual being. Even in liberation, souls remain distinct from the Lord. They do not merge and disappear like drops in the ocean. Instead, they achieve perfect harmony with divine will while keeping their unique identity. They choose constantly to serve and love the Supreme, and this choice brings eternal bliss. This teaching honors both divine power and human responsibility. The Lord remains supreme over all creation, yet your actions matter deeply. Your choices shape your destiny. Your devotion opens the door to grace. Your efforts toward righteousness bear real fruit. The relationship between Lord and soul resembles that between master and servant, but filled with love rather than fear. The Lord guides and protects. The soul chooses to follow or resist. Both remain real, both maintain their nature, and both participate in the cosmic dance of existence. In this understanding, your life carries genuine meaning. Your struggles and victories belong to you. Your prayers and worship reach a real divine person who responds with love and guidance. Part 3. Yoga and Liberation. Discipline, Desire, and Mastery over Mind. The mind is like a lake disturbed by winds. When the winds blow, the water moves and becomes rough. When the winds stop, the water becomes still and clear. Your thoughts are like these winds. They disturb the peace of your soul. Through practice and discipline, you can make these winds calm. The wise ones say that desire is the root of all suffering. When you want something, you become restless. When you do not get what you want, you feel pain. When you get what you want, you fear losing it. This cycle never ends unless you learn to master your desires. But you have the power to choose. You can decide to practice discipline. You can decide to control your senses. Your eyes want to see pleasant things. Your tongue wants to taste sweet foods. Your mind wants to think exciting thoughts. But you can say no to these wants. This is your freedom. Practice makes the mind strong. Just as you exercise your body to make it healthy, you must exercise your mind to make it peaceful. Sit quietly every day. Watch your breath. When thoughts come, let them pass like clouds in the sky. Do not hold them. Do not push them away. Simply watch. Control your senses like a chariot driver controls horses. The horses want to run in different directions. The wise driver holds the reins firmly and guides them on the right path. Your senses are like wild horses. Your mind is the driver. Your intelligence must hold the reins. When you eat, eat only what your body needs. When you sleep, sleep only as much as required. When you work, work without attachment to the results. When you speak, speak only truth and kindness. This is the middle path that leads to peace. The person who masters the mind becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. Such a person sees the same divine presence in all beings. Rich or poor, friend or enemy, all appear equal to the enlightened soul. This is true liberation. Your actions in the past created your present situation. Your actions today create your future. But through right practice, you can break free from this chain. You can choose actions that lead to freedom rather than bondage. The final goal is to merge your individual will with the cosmic will. When a river meets the ocean, it loses its separate identity, but gains the vastness of the sea. Similarly, when your small self surrenders to the greater self, you find perfect peace and unlimited joy. This path requires effort from you. No one else can walk it for you, but the reward is complete freedom from all suffering and the experience of eternal bliss. Part 4. The role of divine grace and predestination. God as cause of all causes. When a seeker reaches the highest truth through their own effort, they must understand that even this achievement depends on something greater. The Holy Scriptures teach that divine grace flows like rain from heaven. It waters the ground where seeds of good deeds have been planted. But without this celestial blessing, no spiritual fruit can grow. The wise ones say that God is the cause of all causes. Every action you take, every choice you make, springs from the divine source. Just as rivers flow toward the ocean, following their natural course, your will moves according to the great cosmic plan. Yet this does not make you powerless. You are like a skilled musician, playing your part in a vast composition. Your notes matter, but they harmonize within a greater melody written by the Supreme. Some souls receive divine favor more easily than others. This grace comes not from favoritism, but from the readiness of the heart to receive it. A clean vessel holds pure water better than a dirty one. Those who have purified their minds through right living and devotion become fit instruments for divine will to work through them. The Scriptures reveal that God knows all things before they happen. Past, present, and future exist together in the divine consciousness, like a scroll unrolled completely. From this eternal perspective, all events are already determined. Yet from your limited view, choices remain real and meaningful. You must act with full responsibility while surrendering the results to the highest power. Liberation itself cannot be earned through human effort alone. It is a gift that comes when individual will aligns perfectly with cosmic will. Like a wave that realizes it is not separate from the ocean, the soul awakens to its true nature through divine grace. Your practice creates the conditions, but the final awakening happens through celestial intervention. This teaching does not diminish human effort. Rather, it places all action within the context of ultimate surrender. Work diligently, choose wisely, and purify your heart. But remember that the power to act, the intelligence to choose, and the fruits of all endeavors flow from the one source. In this understanding, freedom and surrender become one reality, and the apparent conflict between destiny and choice dissolves in the light of supreme truth. Part 5. Human Autonomy versus Cosmic Order. Reconciling Paradox in Hindu Thought. Human consciousness moves between two great truths. You possess the power to choose your actions, thoughts, and responses. Yet you exist within an infinite cosmic order that operates according to eternal laws. This apparent contradiction forms the heart of existence itself. The Vedas teach that both realities are equally true. Your individual will functions within the vast web of universal consciousness. When you choose to act with righteousness, you align with cosmic harmony. When you choose selfishness or harm, you create disturbance in the natural flow. Your choices matter completely, yet they unfold within patterns far greater than your understanding. Consider the wave upon the ocean. The wave rises and falls according to its nature, moving with apparent freedom, yet it remains always part of the vast ocean, subject to tides, currents, and forces beyond its control. Your soul moves similarly within the infinite consciousness that pervades all existence. The great play of creation, known as Leela, requires both structure and spontaneity. Divine consciousness establishes the fundamental laws that govern reality. Within these laws, countless souls exercise their will, making choices that shape their destiny. This cosmic dance would be incomplete without both elements working together. Your freedom exists precisely because of cosmic order, not despite it. The laws of karma provide the framework within which your choices create meaningful consequences. Without this structure, choice would be random and meaningless. With it, every decision becomes part of your spiritual evolution. The wise understand that questioning whether free will or destiny dominates misses the deeper truth. These forces interpenetrate each other so completely that separating them becomes impossible. Your will participates in the cosmic will. The cosmic will expresses itself through individual souls making conscious choices. When you perform your duties without attachment to results, you exercise perfect freedom within perfect surrender. This state transcends the limited perspective that sees conflict between personal autonomy and divine order. You become a conscious participant in the eternal cosmic process. The scriptures reveal that advanced souls experience no contradiction between these truths. They act with complete spontaneity while remaining in perfect harmony with universal law. Their individual will has become transparent to the cosmic will, creating unified action that serves both personal growth and universal welfare. This understanding transforms spiritual practice from a struggle between opposing forces into a harmonious integration of all aspects of existence. You neither deny your capacity to choose nor ignore the greater patterns that guide creation. Instead, you learn to choose in alignment with your highest nature and cosmic purpose. The paradox dissolves when consciousness expands beyond the limitations of separate selfhood, while maintaining the clarity and responsibility of individual awareness. Chapter 4: The Human Drama of Choice, Destiny, and Liberation. Part 1: Living with Karma, the interplay of past, present, and future actions. Behold, when a man is born into this world, he carries with him the fruits of his past deeds. These fruits ripen in due time, bringing joy or sorrow according to his former actions. Yet this same man possesses the power to choose his path each day, creating new karma through his present decisions. Consider a merchant who finds himself born into poverty. This poverty comes from his past actions of greed and selfishness in former lives. Yet each morning, he can choose to act with honesty or dishonesty in his trade. If he chooses truth and fairness, he plants seeds of future prosperity. If he chooses deception, he creates more suffering for times to come. A king may inherit great wealth and power through good deeds of the past, but if he uses this power to harm his subjects, he binds himself to future hardship. If he rules with justice and compassion, he creates merit that will follow him beyond this life. A woman born with physical ailment experiences the result of harmful actions from before. Yet through patience, kindness to others, and devotion to the divine, she transforms her present suffering into spiritual wisdom. Her acceptance purifies past wrongs, while her good conduct creates blessings for future births. The farmer plants seeds in soil prepared by last season's work. He cannot change what lies beneath the earth, but he can choose what new seeds to plant today. Some fields yield poor harvest due to past neglect, yet the wise farmer continues to tend his land with care, knowing that persistent right action will eventually bring abundant fruit. A student born with limited intelligence struggles with learning due to past neglect of wisdom. But through dedicated study and respect for teachers, he gradually develops understanding. His present effort cannot instantly remove all past ignorance, but each day of sincere practice adds to his knowledge. The mother who loses a child experiences the pain of past karma, yet how she responds to this loss shapes her future. Through grief, she may grow bitter and harm others, creating new suffering. Through acceptance and service to other children, she transforms pain into compassion. Thus, every soul lives suspended between past and future, receiving the consequences of former choices while constantly creating new destiny through present actions. The wise person accepts what cannot be changed while working diligently to improve what lies ahead. Neither passive acceptance nor frantic struggle serves the soul, but steady right action performed with understanding of this eternal law. Part 2. Free will as a path to moksha. Exercising choice toward liberation. Free will as a path to moksha. Exercising choice toward liberation. Where karma binds the soul through endless cycles of birth and death, free will becomes the sacred key that opens the door to freedom. The ancient wisdom teaches that liberation from samsara cannot come through passive waiting or divine grace alone, but requires the conscious exercise of human choice directed toward the highest truth. The soul trapped in worldly existence possesses the power to choose its response to every situation. When faced with pleasure, one may choose attachment or detachment. When confronted with pain, one may select hatred or acceptance. These choices determine whether the soul moves closer to liberation or deeper into bondage. Sacred knowledge forms the first pillar of conscious choice. The seeker must actively pursue understanding of the eternal self beyond the temporary body and mind. This requires study of holy texts, contemplation of truth, and association with wise teachers. No external force can compel this learning. The individual must freely decide to turn attention from worldly distractions toward spiritual inquiry. Righteous behavior constitutes the second foundation of liberation. Following Dharma means choosing moral action even when easier paths present themselves. The person seeking freedom must select truthfulness over deception, kindness over cruelty, and service over selfishness. Each ethical choice weakens the chains of past wrongdoing while preventing new karmic debts from forming. Detachment represents the highest expression of spiritual will. The liberated soul learns to act without clinging to results, to love without possessiveness, and to serve without expectation of reward. This detachment cannot be forced from outside, but must arise through deliberate cultivation of wisdom and surrender. The mother who loses her child through karmic destiny still possesses complete freedom in choosing her response. She may curse God and harm herself, creating new suffering. She may accept the loss with understanding and dedicate her remaining life to helping other mothers, transforming pain into compassion. Through this conscious choice, she moves from victim of fate to master of destiny. Similarly, the merchant who inherits wealth through good karma faces choices that determine his spiritual progress. He may hoard riches and exploit workers, binding himself to future poverty and suffering. He may share abundantly and treat employees fairly, using material blessings as stepping stones toward higher realization. Every moment presents opportunities for liberation through conscious choice. The person who exercises free will toward spiritual growth gradually transcends the mechanical reactions of ordinary consciousness. Instead of automatically responding to pleasant experiences with attachment and unpleasant ones with aversion, the awakened soul maintains steady awareness and chooses responses that serve liberation. This path requires tremendous effort and constant vigilance. Liberation demands that individuals take complete responsibility for their spiritual development, rather than blaming circumstances or waiting for external salvation. Through persistent right choice, the soul eventually breaks free from all karmic bondage and achieves eternal freedom in union with the divine. Part 3. Suffering, Evil and Moral Responsibility. Consequences of Actions and Decisions. Suffering comes to all beings according to their past actions. The sacred teachings tell us that every pain and every joy flows from deeds done in this life or lives before. When a person faces hardship, it is not punishment from an angry God, but the natural result of choices made with the power of free will. The wise understand that suffering serves a purpose in the soul's journey. Just as fire purifies gold, difficulties burn away ignorance and selfish desires. Those who face their troubles with patience and understanding grow in wisdom. They learn that pain comes from attachment to temporary things and from actions that harm others. Evil exists because beings misuse their freedom to choose. When someone acts from greed, anger, or delusion, they create suffering for themselves and others. The person who steals brings poverty to their future. The one who speaks harsh words will hear harsh words in return. The killer destroys their own peace along with the life they take. Yet even in the darkest actions, free will remains. At any moment, a person can choose to turn toward righteousness. The thief can become generous. The angry person can learn kindness. The one who is killed can dedicate their life to protecting others. This power to change direction makes each soul responsible for their destiny. Moral responsibility means accepting that we create our own experiences through our choices. When good fortune comes, we should remember it flows from good deeds. When troubles arrive, we must face them knowing they result from our past mistakes. This understanding brings neither pride nor despair, but clarity about how life works. The person who truly accepts responsibility stops blaming others for their problems. They do not curse fate or demand answers from heaven about why difficulties come. Instead, they use their present freedom to make better choices. They help others when they can and avoid causing harm. They cultivate good qualities and abandon destructive habits. Some ask why innocent people suffer if karma is just. The teachings explain that no soul is truly innocent, for all have acted across many lifetimes. What appears as unfair suffering to our limited sight makes perfect sense when seen across the full span of the soul's journey. The child born into hardship carries forward the consequences of past lives, just as the child born into comfort enjoys the fruits of previous good actions. This knowledge should inspire compassion, not judgment. When we see others in pain, we should help them rather than assume they deserve their fate. Our own freedom to choose kindness creates good karma and serves our spiritual growth. Through right action toward all beings, we gradually purify our own future and move closer to liberation from the wheel of suffering and rebirth. Part 4. The Mystery of Divine Will, Predestination in Sacred Texts and Mystical Teachings. The great sages teach us that the Supreme Lord guides all things according to His divine plan. Yet this truth does not remove our duty to act with wisdom and devotion. The sacred texts reveal that God's will works through our choices, not against them. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains to Arjuna that all beings move according to their nature, shaped by the three qualities of existence. Even the wise person cannot escape their nature entirely. Yet, within this framework, we possess the power to choose righteousness over sin, knowledge over ignorance, and devotion over selfishness. The Lord says that He dwells in the hearts of all creatures, causing them to revolve as if mounted on a wheel. This divine presence guides the consequences of our actions. When we perform good deeds, the Lord arranges circumstances that bring good results. When we choose evil paths, He allows the natural consequences to unfold. Some souls receive divine grace that seems to lift them beyond their karma. The scriptures tell of devotees whose sincere surrender attracted God's special mercy. Their destiny appeared to change through divine intervention. Yet even this grace responds to their choice to seek the Lord with pure hearts. The wise understand that questioning God's ways leads to confusion. Why does one child suffer while another enjoys comfort? Why do good people face hardship while evil ones prosper? These mysteries cannot be solved by human reasoning alone. The divine will operates according to laws too vast for our limited understanding. The teachers tell us to focus on our duty rather than trying to comprehend the cosmic plan. We cannot see the full picture of how individual destinies serve the greater purpose. Each soul's journey spans countless lifetimes, with experiences designed to promote spiritual growth. Prayer and meditation reveal glimpses of this deeper order. In moments of clarity, devotees perceive how their trials and blessings alike serve their evolution toward God. What seems like cruel fate often contains hidden gifts of wisdom and compassion. The scriptures declare that surrendering to divine will does not mean becoming passive. True surrender means performing our duties with dedication while offering the results to God. We act with full effort, but remain detached from outcomes, trusting that the Lord will arrange what serves our highest good. This balance between human effort and divine grace forms the heart of spiritual life. We use our free will to choose the path of Dharma, knowing that God supports those who sincerely seek truth and righteousness. Part 5. The Eternal Balance. How action, fate, and freedom shape the soul's journey. Every soul travels through countless births, moving between action and surrender, like a river flowing toward the ocean. In each life, we face the same eternal question: how much do we control, and how much must we accept? The sacred teachings show us that life is neither pure choice nor complete fate. Instead, we live in the space between effort and acceptance, where both human will and divine plan work together. Our actions create karma, which shapes our circumstances. Yet within those circumstances, we still choose how to respond. This balance appears in every moment of daily life. A farmer plants seeds with care and waters them faithfully, but cannot control the rain or sun. A student studies with dedication, but cannot determine the exact results of examinations. A parent guides their children with love, but cannot force their hearts to follow wisdom. In each case, we do our part while accepting what lies beyond our power. The scriptures teach that this tension between effort and surrender serves a sacred purpose. Through trying and failing, succeeding and losing, the soul learns important lessons. We discover that attachment to results brings suffering, while performing duty without attachment brings peace. We learn that our individual will must align with the greater cosmic order. Some lives emphasize action and learning through experience. The soul makes many choices, faces consequences, and gradually understands the laws of Dharma. Other lives focus more on surrender and devotion, where the soul learns to trust divine wisdom even when the path seems unclear. Both approaches serve the same goal of spiritual growth. The eternal dance continues through many lifetimes. In one birth, we may be called to great action and leadership. In another, we practice patience and acceptance through limitation or suffering. Each experience adds to the soul's understanding of how to balance personal will with cosmic harmony. This ongoing journey teaches us that freedom and destiny are not opposites, but partners in spiritual evolution. True freedom comes not from getting everything we want, but from wanting what serves our highest development. Real choice means choosing to align our will with divine purpose, even when we cannot see the complete picture. The path toward ultimate union with God requires both effort and grace. We must use our free will to choose righteousness, study sacred knowledge, and practice spiritual disciplines. Yet we also need divine blessing to progress beyond the limitations of individual ego. The soul grows through learning when to act decisively and when to wait peacefully. This eternal balance ensures that every soul eventually finds its way home to God, regardless of how many lifetimes the journey requires.